If anyone had told me that falling asleep in class would put a target on my back, I would have laughed. But, the moment black SUVs surrounded me and men with guns shouted, "Protect the young master," I realized the quiet Korean guy who always sat in the back of my economics class wasn't just another student. He was the heir to a billion-dollar empire with a mafia father, and somehow he had fallen in love with me. If you love Afro-Korean romance stories filled with billionaires, shocking twists, and unforgettable love, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and tell me where you're watching from. Trust me, this story only gets crazier from here. 3 months earlier, the sound of a thick textbook slamming onto my desk nearly made me fall out of my chair. "Miss Brooks." My eyes flew open. "I am awake." The lecture hall exploded with laughter. I rubbed my eyes and looked up at Professor Lee, whose expression could have frozen lava. "Would you like to explain why you've slept through my 8 o'clock lecture for the 5th time this month?" I worked late. So did half this university. More laughter. I felt my cheeks burn. Nobody knew that while they were sleeping, I was designing websites, editing videos, and creating brand logos for clients back home in Atlanta. The time difference meant my workday didn't even begin until most students here were getting ready for bed. I wasn't lazy. I was exhausted. "I'll see you after class," Professor Lee said before continuing his lecture. I sighed and dropped my head onto the desk. "This semester is going to kill me." A quiet voice came from beside me. "Only if you let it." I looked up. Standing next to my desk was Kang Jun-seo, the most intimidating student at Seoul University. Every girl admired him. Every guy avoided him. Nobody really knew anything about him except that he was brilliant, rich, and impossible to approach. He placed a neatly organized notebook on my desk. "You missed the first half of today's lecture." "Oh," I blinked. "Thank you." He simply nodded and walked away. One of the girls in front of me gasped. "Did Kang Jun-seo just help you?" "I guess." Another girl leaned over. "He doesn't even help his group partners." I looked down at the notebook. Every formula, every graph, every explanation, written perfectly. Who spends that much time taking notes for someone else? After class, Professor Lee kept me behind. "I know you're talented, Miss Brooks." His tone softened. "But talent means nothing if you're unconscious." "I know. You came all the way from America." "I know. You earned one of the hardest exchange scholarships in this university." "I know. So don't waste it." His words stayed with me long after I left the classroom. Outside, rain poured across the campus. I searched through my backpack. No, my umbrella. I'd left it in my apartment. Perfect. Just perfect. I stood under the library entrance watching everyone rush past me. Then someone stopped beside me. An umbrella opened over my head. "You'll get sick." "Ew." Again. "You don't have to do this." "I know." "So why are you?" He looked toward the rain instead of at me. "Because no one should walk home alone." For some reason, that simple sentence hit harder than any romantic line I'd ever heard. We walked in silence. It wasn't awkward. It was peaceful. Halfway to the subway station, my stomach growled so loudly that even I laughed. Bill looked at me. "You skipped lunch." "I wasn't hungry." "You were saving money." I scratched the back of my neck. "Maybe." Without another word, he led me into a small convenience store. He grabbed 2 lunchboxes, hot coffee, and a slice of cheesecake. When I reached for my wallet, he shook his head. "I've got it." "No. I can pay for my own food." "I know. So let me." I folded my arms. "I don't like people spending money on me." For the first time, he smiled. Tiny smile. "So we're both stubborn." I laughed. "Looks like it." We sat by the window while the rain tapped against the glass. "This is probably the nicest lunch I've had in weeks," I admitted. "You work every night." "Pretty much." "Why?" "Because I promised myself I'd never ask my parents for money again." He stared at me for a long moment. I understand. No, you don't. His eyes darkened. You'd be surprised. Before I could ask what he meant, his phone vibrated. He glanced at the screen. The warmth disappeared from his face instantly. He stood. I have to go. Everything okay? Stay away from the south parking garage tonight. He frowned. What? He didn't answer. He simply walked away into the rain. I watched him disappear between the buildings. That should have been the end of it. I should have gone back to my apartment. Instead, curiosity got the better of me. An hour later, I found myself walking toward the south parking garage. The moment I stepped inside, black SUVs screeched to a halt. Men in dark suits poured out. One of them pointed directly at me. There she is. Another shouted, Don't let her get near the young master. Before I could even scream, someone grabbed my wrist. 'Twas Jun-seo. His grip tightened as he pulled me behind a concrete pillar. Then he looked straight into my terrified eyes and whispered, Amara, if they see your face tonight, they'll never let you go. Who are they? I whispered. Jun pressed one finger to his lips. Footsteps thundered through the garage. Search every level, a man ordered. The chairman wants the girl brought in alive. My heart slammed against my ribs. The girl. Mouth. Me. Jun's jaw tightened. I told you not to come here. And I thought you were being dramatic. A black car rolled slowly past our hiding place. Jun pulled me closer, shielding me with his body. I could feel his heartbeat. It was fast, but his face remained calm. Listen to me, he whispered. When I say run, take the emergency stairs. Don't stop. Don't look back. I'm not leaving you. His eyes flashed. This isn't a debate, Amara. A phone began ringing. Ring. The sound echoed through the garage. Jun cursed under his breath. There. Two men rushed toward us. Jun stepped out before I could move. The first man swung at him, but Jun-seo blocked the punch and drove him into the wall. The second reached inside his jacket. Jun-seo. He kicked the man's wrist. A handgun skidded across the concrete. Froze. This wasn't campus gossip. This was real. Jun-seo grabbed my hand. Run! We raced toward the stairwell as men shouted behind us. Just before the door closed, I heard someone yell, Young master, your father only wants to talk. Jun-seo didn't slow down. By the time we reached the street, rain soaked us both. He pulled me into a waiting taxi and gave the driver an address. I stared at him. You just fought armed men. He looked out the window. You weren't supposed to see that. They called you young master. Silence. They said your father sent them. More silence. I grabbed his sleeve. Who are you? His phone rang again. This time he answered. I said she wasn't involved. A deep voice responded through the speaker. Too faint for me to understand. Jun-seo's expression hardened. If anyone touches her, I'll expose everything. He ended the call. My stomach twisted. Expose what? He looked at me, and for the first time since I met him, I saw fear. My family owns Daehan Group. Blinked. The Daehan Group. Yes. The company was everywhere. Hotels, construction, hospitals, media. Their logo practically covered Seoul. You're telling me you're one of those Kangs? I'm the only son. I pulled my hand away. So you're rich. That's the least dangerous part. The taxi stopped outside my apartment building. Jun-seo stepped out with me. You need to leave Seoul for a few days. I have classes. They know your face. Why? His voice dropped. Because my father thinks you're the reason I refused to take over the family. I stared at him. We barely know each other. His eyes held mine. That's not how he sees it. My pulse stumbled. And how do you see it? For one breath, the danger disappeared. So stepped closer. I see the only person who talks to me without fear. His hand lifted as though he wanted to touch my cheek, but he stopped himself. I see someone I can't afford to care about. The words hurt more than I expected. So stop caring. I tried. His voice cracked. I couldn't. Car door slammed behind us. He turned sharply. A woman in a cream coat stood beside a black sedan. She was elegant, beautiful, and furious. Jun-seo, she said. Get in the car. He moved in front of me. No. Her gaze shifted to me. So this is Amara Brooks. I swallowed. Who are you? She smiled without warmth. I'm Han Seo-yun. Jun-seo's face went pale. My fiancé. The air left my lungs. I looked at him. You're what? It isn't what you think. Jun laughed. Really? Should I tell her about the wedding date, or will you? I stepped back. All the kindness, the rain, the lunch, the way he had held me in the garage. It suddenly felt like a lie. Amara, listen to me. Jun-seo pleaded. No. I shook my head. You don't get to protect me from bullets and hide something like this. I turned toward my building. Then Seo-yun called after me. You should also know why he entered the student election. Stop. Jun's voice sharpened. Seo-yun, don't. She opened her phone and showed me a photograph. It was my scholarship file. My passport copy. My parents' address in Atlanta. Every private detail about my life. He wasn't helping you by accident, she said. He was assigned to watch you. I slowly faced Jun-seo. Tell me she's lying. He said nothing. That silence broke something inside me. Then my phone vibrated. A video had been posted to the university message board. It showed me sleeping in class. But that wasn't the shocking part. The caption beneath it read, Amara seduces Heir to destroy his engagement. And within seconds, the video had already reached 10,000 views. I couldn't breathe. My hands trembled so badly I almost dropped my phone. Comments flooded in faster than I could read them. She planned this from the beginning. Foreign gold digger. She knew exactly who he was. Send her back. My vision blurred. This isn't true, I whispered. Jun-seo reached for me. Amara, don't read them. I stepped away. Did you know this was coming? No. Did you know about the engagement? His silence lasted only a second. Yes. And you still let me get close to you. I tried to stay away. I laughed bitterly. You call buying me lunch and walking me home staying away? His shoulders dropped. I failed. Seo-yun folded her arms. You've embarrassed both families enough. Jun turned toward her. Leave. I'm trying to save you. I don't need saving. You'll lose your position. I don't care. She stared at him in disbelief. You'd throw away Daehan Group. He looked straight at me. For her. The words landed like thunder. I wanted to believe him. But everything had become a lie too quickly. I need time, I said quietly. Without waiting for an answer, I walked into my apartment building. That night, I cried harder than I had in years. Not because people hated me. Not because the internet had turned me into a villain. But because somewhere deep inside, I had already started falling for Kang Jun-seo. The next morning was even worse. Students stopped talking when I entered campus. Some openly took pictures. Others whispered loud enough for me to hear. That's her. The CEO's girlfriend. No, the fiancé thief. Kept my head down. Amara. My best friend in Korea, Yuna, hurried toward me. I've been calling you all night. I'm okay. No, you're not. She grabbed my arm. Come with me. She led me into the art building where it was finally quiet. Tell me everything. So I did. The parking garage. The men in black suits. The engagement. The video. The lies. When I finished, Yuna didn't speak for several seconds. Finally, she asked one question. Did he ever actually lie to you? I frowned. What? You said he hid things. Yes. But did he ever tell you something that wasn't true? I opened my mouth. Nothing came out. 'Cause she was right. Jun-seo had hidden the truth. But he had never lied. Before I could process that thought, my phone rang. Unknown number. I almost ignored it. Instead, I answered. Hello. A calm male voice replied. Miss Brooks. Yes. My name is Kim Doo-jin. I serve as executive secretary to Chairman Kang. Every nerve in my body tensed. I have no interest in speaking with your chairman. I'm afraid this isn't a request. My stomach tightened. He wishes to meet you. I'm not coming. There was a brief pause. I thought you might say that. Another pause. So he asked me to tell you something. What? The video wasn't leaked by Miss Seo-yeon. Froze. What? It was leaked from inside Seoul University. My heart skipped. Someone close to the student election was paid to destroy your reputation. My mind immediately raced to Seo Taehyun's campaign. But why? Because the election isn't actually about student politics. What do you mean? The secretary's voice became even quieter. Someone believes if young Master Jun-seo loses the election, he'll also lose his claim to succeed Daehan Group. Blink. What does a university election have to do with a billion-dollar company? Everything. Then he hung up. I stood there staring at my phone. Nothing made sense anymore. That afternoon, Professor Lee surprised everyone by canceling class. Instead, he asked me to stay behind. When the room emptied, he closed the door. I've taught here for 23 years, he said. I've seen brilliant students. I've seen powerful students. But I've never seen a student willing to risk his future the way Kang Jun-seo has. I looked at him. You know. He nodded slowly. I taught his mother. My eyes widened. Professor Lee walked to his desk and opened an old photograph. A smiling young woman stood beside a teenage boy. Ew. He wasn't always like this, Professor Lee said softly. He used to smile every day. What happened? His expression grew heavy. The day his mother died. He blamed himself. I swallowed hard. Professor Lee looked directly at me. You're the first person who's made him smile since. Before I could respond, the classroom door burst open. Campus security officer rushed inside. Professor, what is it? The student council debate has been interrupted. Why? The officer turned toward me. Someone has just released another video. My heart sank. What video? He handed me his phone. It wasn't me sleeping this time. It was security footage from the underground parking garage. The final frame showed Jun-seo shielding me with his body, while a man pointed a gun directly at us. And beneath the video, one sentence flashed across every screen on campus. If you want the girl, come to tonight's debate. My hands went numb. No. Professor Lee reached for the phone. You're not going. I shook my head. If I don't, they'll keep coming after him. They're counting on you thinking that. I looked out the classroom window. They're right. Before either of them could stop me, I ran. By the time I reached the auditorium, police cars surrounded the building. Students crowded behind barricades, filming everything with their phones. Amara, turn. Pushed through security and grabbed my shoulders. What are you doing here? I should be asking you the same thing. I told you to stay away. And I told you I'm done running. His expression softened. You never listen. I smiled through my tears. I learned from you. The lights inside the auditorium suddenly went out. A loud voice echoed through the speakers. Kang Jun-seo. You have 5 minutes. Walk onto the stage alone. Or the girl dies. The crowd screamed. Security rushed toward the exits. Squeezed my hand once. I'm ending this. No. I won't let them use you. They already are. He stepped onto the stage. Hundreds of students watched in complete silence. A masked man emerged from the shadows holding a pistol. My heart nearly stopped. You've disappointed your family, young master, the man said. You chose love over loyalty. Jun-seo stood perfectly still. If you're here for revenge, take me. The man raised the gun. I planned to. Everything happened at once. A shot rang out. Students ducked. I screamed. Jun-seo. But he was still standing. The masked man looked down in shock. His gun had been knocked from his hand. Campus security tackled him to the floor. Within seconds, plainclothes officers flooded the stage. Another man was arrested. Then another. The entire attack collapsed in less than a minute. I stared in disbelief. Joe walked toward me. You knew. He nodded. My father wasn't sending people after you. What? He was protecting you. I frowned. Then who? The people who wanted Daehan Group. My father discovered someone inside the company was working with an old criminal network. They leaked the videos. They manipulated the election. They wanted to force me into the marriage with Seo Yun because it would have given them control of the company. Everything finally made sense. The parking garage was a trap. He nodded. For them. But they followed you instead. Just then, an older man in an elegant black suit approached us. Every executive around him bowed. Even the police chief nodded respectfully. He stopped in front of me. So, you're Amara. I swallowed. You must be Chairman Kang. He smiled. I've been hoping we'd finally meet. And blinked. I thought you hated me. Hated you. He laughed softly. My son hasn't smiled in 6 years. Then you appeared. I should probably thank you. I looked at Jun-seo. You mean? The engagement was never real, Jun-seo said. It was a business arrangement. It ended the day I refused it. Chairman Kang nodded. Seo Yun knew that. She stayed quiet because she wanted to expose the people manipulating both families. I couldn't believe it. So, all this time. So stepped closer. The only thing I truly hid from you was how much I loved you. Tears filled my eyes. You idiot. I know. You scared me. I know. You made me fall in love with you. For the first time. His confident mask disappeared completely. Does that mean? Smiled. It means don't ever keep something that important from me again. Before another word could be spoken, I wrapped my arms around him. The entire auditorium erupted into applause. Someone shouted, "Kiss her." I laughed. I think they're giving orders now. Then we'd better listen. He kissed me. Not because hundreds of people were watching, but because, for the first time in his life, he was finally free. 1 year later, Kang Jun-seo became the youngest CEO in Daehan Group's history. Instead of celebrating with a lavish gala, his first announcement surprised the entire country. Daehan Foundation would fully fund scholarships for international students working their way through university. When reporters asked why, he simply smiled. Because brilliance should never lose to exhaustion. As for me, I graduated with honors and opened my own creative branding agency. I earned every client through my work. What I discovered much later was that Jun-seo quietly recommended my company only after reviewing every proposal and making sure I was the best person for the job. He never handed me success. He simply opened doors I had already earned the right to walk through. Some people said the Korean CEO spoiled me. They weren't wrong. But it wasn't with diamonds, or sports cars, or designer handbags. He spoiled me with peace. He made sure I never had to choose between paying rent and eating lunch again. He reminded me to sleep instead of working until dawn. He celebrated every achievement as though it were his own. One afternoon, after finishing a presentation at Daehan headquarters, I accidentally fell asleep on the couch in his office. Executives quietly entered for the next meeting. Jun-seo looked up. Reschedule. But sir. Reschedule. Without another word. He took off his suit jacket, covered me with it, dimmed the lights and whispered. She's spent enough of her life staying awake for everyone else. No one argued. No one complained. The most feared CEO in Korea wasn't feared because of the family he was born into. He was respected because everyone could see the kind of man he had chosen to become. And every time I opened my eyes and found him smiling back at me, I remembered something. The greatest thing that ever happened to me wasn't falling asleep in class. It was waking up beside the man who made me feel safe enough to finally rest. If this story made you smile, don't forget to like this video, subscribe for more unforgettable Afro-Korean romance stories, and let me know in the comments, what would you have done if you discovered the quiet student in your class was secretly a billionaire mafia heir?